All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
Difficult. Sorry about that technical difficulty. Welcome to the College Breakdown, the special edition here on the All Sports All Place Network. I'm gonna bring in my co-host, Coach Dante. How you doing today, Dante?
How you doing, Ray? How you doing, man? Appreciate you for having me on. It's an honor to have do big things with you, man, and do big things. You know that the ASAP Sports Network and the Spotlight combining with each other together as one. I can't wait for many more shows of college football. You know, we heading down to the stretch. Bowl season starting and championship week coming this week.
Yeah, championship week is upon us. We got two of them tonight. We got the USA Conference Championship. Western Kentucky Hilltoppers and the UTSA team. Mm-hmm. And then we got the Pac-12, the rematch of the Oregon. Oh, sorry about that. Trying to keep them off the air here. But yeah, so if we look at it here. All right. There we go. Had to take care of the phone situation.
Nah, you good.
So anyway, we look at it this way here. You know, the Pac-12, you got the rematch of Oregon versus Utah. So, You know, let's talk about a little stuff before we get into these game breaks since we've got a 2-hour show tonight. The game comes on at 7 o'clock. Western Kentucky starts it off, then followed by that'll be on CBS Sports Network and then the ABC telecast of the Pac-12. So people that don't have cable, you get to watch the Pac-12 because it's going to be on your regular ABC network. So you get to watch that. But I wish it could be right here on the ASAP network. You know, we could have done something better than Kirk Herbstreit and Fowler, you know, probably going to call that game. So anyway, you know, we had a lot of happenings. We're going to talk about a little bit more in depth on Saturday. So that's a 3-hour show. So we got to put some more in depth. But I want to get your take on the situation that we have right now with the Lincoln Riley story. I want to touch bases on this a little bit here. You know, I seen what they offered him. They offered him $112 million for, I think, 10 years. They paid it. They gave him a private jet. They bought a mansion for him, and they bought both of their houses in Oklahoma. So, and then you see the football players come out and start talking, you know, how they left and stuff like that. Do you think that Lincoln Riley handled that correctly by, you know, getting out of there quick as Jesus? I mean, he didn't really talk to the players long. He talked to them, then he was on the plane, then he was out California, and they did that thing. So some of the players are starting to speak out on this issue. Did Lincoln Riley do Oklahoma bad? That's the question.
I think he kind of did them bad. If I was a player, I wouldn't like what he did, because if you know you're going to sign somewhere else and you know you're not going to be there, how about tell everybody? How about tell the players? How about discuss it as to your players? I think he been wanting to do this, I believe, since the Oklahoma State game. I believe that's when it came out. The news basically came out, and he was going to USC. But I'm not comfortable. If I'm going to leave a situation, I'm going to discuss it in the locker room with my players. I'm going to have a coaches meeting, and I'm going to tell everybody, hey, I'm enjoying my time here in Oklahoma. We had some good years. Wish it could have been better, but I'm going to take another job, and I'm going to go to USC. And now you're starting to see the real facts come out, and it don't sit right with the players. So I don't blame the players for coming out and voicing that frustration. But if Lincoln Riley he should have handled that better. Like I said. So again, he could at least told the players what he was going to do. And I heard some type of rumor as well. The defensive coordinator is recruiting for both schools, Oklahoma and and USC. So I'm assuming the defensive coordinator for Lincoln Riley is going over there with USC. So I'm hearing a lot of stuff starting to come out, and like I said, I'm not enjoying the experience that Lincoln Riley didn't tell anybody and not let any one of those players know, and the coaching staff and the basically the school, the program know that I'm moving on to a different situation. But I did not like the way Lincoln Riley handled that. He should have discussed it with those players, and I understand why they're coming out with frustration.
Yeah, we talk about frustration. We talk about different things, and then last night the story broke that Mendenhall out of Virginia is now going to leave after the season. But he did it. He did it the proper. I think he did it the proper way. I think he was a class act to do. He told his players that this will be his last game for Virginia, the bowl game. So, and he gave a reason why he wanted to spend more time with his family. I understand that too. I mean, he's 55 years old. He's made his money and stuff like that. So, between the two situations, I think he handled the class. So, what do you think about the Virginia job opening up?
Again, it's the Virginia. You talking about ACC Virginia, right?
Yep, the Virginia
ACC,
Cavaliers.
I mean, I think it's very good. I think a coach is gonna come in and take a job. I think that's a hot job. It's a Power 5 school, so a lot of coaches is gonna be interested in that job. Anytime it's a Power 5 school, I mean, you expect a job. You expect someone them to find the right person for that team. What if it's in the NFL, someone coming out of the NFL, or someone that needs a job in college, man? So again, you just got to bring the right coach in that situation.
Yeah, we're talking about the coaching jobs. This has been if you look at the college football last weekend, everybody had upsets after upsets. You picked Ohio State, I picked Michigan. I came out on top on that one. I mean, it's just something that I felt like that John Harbaugh was going to do to Ohio State. But when we look at the rankings of the college football rankings right now, I'm going to bring that up here. I got the new ones. I got the new ones in here. Now you see how they got this ranking going down. You got Georgia, Michigan, Alabama, and Cincinnati. That's your top 4.
Yeah.
But they only put Ohio State down to 7 because they want to try to get them back in if some of these top teams go. Now, my question to you, I know I heard you on AM in the morning. I listened to it on the computer here today, and I listened to y'all's comments and stuff like that. And you got Oklahoma, you got Alabama coming back in, you got Ohio State coming back in. People are discussing that. Yeah. But I don't think that scenario is going to happen because, and the way that one person picked Alabama to beat Georgia, I don't think Alabama's offensive line has enough that can control Davis. Davis is going to be that interrupter. The question is, that's going to be the question for Georgia's defense. If he gets a running glove up the middle, you can kiss it goodbye because that Young ain't gonna be able to roll out because you got 2 defensive ends who are fast, lightning, and who's going to play that contain. Because if you watch Georgia's pass rush, their 2 defensive end rushes up field, and the defensive tackle flushes the quarterback, and he rolls right, they got him dead rights. They can roll left, they got him dead rights. So they're gonna make him be a pocket passer. But the question is, can the Georgia, if the defensive line gets in there, and that's why their corners are so good because the defensive line interrupts the timing of the quarterback. So if they get that much pressure, to me, and if Georgia holds serve, and if Alabama loses by 10 or 15 points, Alabama's out.
Yeah, I think you know what? I want Alabama to be out. I want Alabama to be out because I'm tired of seeing Alabama in the college football playoff anyway. I want to see somebody different. But it always happens each and every year. I mean, you always gonna have that's why I picked the bold prediction. I had a bold prediction this morning, and every week I love to pick bold predictions. Not saying it's gonna be true, not saying it's gonna happen. I want everything to stay the same after. I believe that Michigan and Iowa games are gonna be tough. I believe Iowa's a good football team. Iowa's a good, sound, fundamentally football team. Now, if something in Cincinnati has been struggling, they struggled against Eastern Carolina. They struggle against some of the bad. They struggle mostly against bad teams, terrible teams. That's who Cincinnati Achilles heel is. They beat up on the good teams, the teams that you're not supposed to beat, but they struggle against some of the most terrible teams. Eastern Carolina is probably a good football team, but they struggle. And again, I just got a feeling if one of those or two scenarios fall, they may put a 2-loss team. You may see a first ever 2-loss team. I hope I don't see that, but everybody know Ohio State that year that TCU had a legit chance to get in. Ohio State didn't win the Big Ten championship that year, and they still got in the college football playoff. So they still favored them over TCU. So it came down to can TCU beat Ohio State neutral on a head to head? Can any 2-loss team beat Alabama head to head? I mean, if both scenarios were to happen, which is I don't want none of those to happen, but they always favor Alabama. Find some way to put Alabama or Ohio State in some scenario. That's why I hope everything stays the same. That's why I hope of Alabama lose, maybe Oklahoma State get their chance.
Well, if you look at it this way too, you talk about Iowa and Michigan. We're going to talk that a little bit later on tomorrow on our regular show. This is a special edition because of the severity of the college football championships are playing tonight. So that's why I decided to bring the show on here live. So the thing I wanted to know here, we're talking about the college football, the playoff situation and the different scenarios. Well, the scenario we looking at here, if all the teams hold serve, and Alabama's the only team out of that top 4 that loses, so that's going to bring Oklahoma State into that 4.
Yeah.
So they'll probably keep Georgia and Michigan, and they'll probably move Cincinnati to number 3 and bring Oklahoma State in. If Oklahoma State serve against Baylor.
Okay.
If Oklahoma State loses, will they try to jump Ohio State over Notre Dame?
See, that's what I'm saying. That's when you'll see probably a 2-loss team come in the scenario. If you see, especially if Oklahoma State loses, especially if Oklahoma State don't have no business. So they kept Ohio State just in there enough where they have an outside shot. But I think if Oklahoma State loses, they're going to Alabama find a way to lose. They're going to find a way to put Ohio State up in that scenario. They're going to find a way to do that because what the committee is going to come down to, can Notre Dame beat Ohio State head to head? Which is I think Notre Dame will get throttled in that situation, and I'm gonna just say Notre Dame will beat the dog hell out of them at that point of time because it's always seen Notre Dame gets in the playoff or any type of scenario like that, they get outmatched. The games will never be close. So that's when you can see a scenario if everything don't break right on Saturday. The committee is gonna come out and say, can Notre Dame beat Ohio State head to head?
Now we're talking about that, but I think what hurts Notre Dame is the coach
Brian Kelly.
Brian Kelly left. I think that's really going to hurt Notre Dame because they don't have actual head coach, so they don't have a foundation of a program now. They had that foundation when Brian Kelly was there. So now Notre Dame hasn't really set an interim coach, but they also made rumors that the offensive coordinator or one of the defensive
coordinator.
Yeah, he's going to. One of the two is going to become the head coach after, but since they don't know what the turmoil of the program is, you think that really hurt Notre Dame's chance because they have no head coach in place right now except for an interim, and Brian Day's been at Ohio State. Now the next scenario too is you look at the same when you're talking about Ohio State beating Notre Dame. Does Ohio State beat Alabama on paper?
No.
So then again, you can have Alabama.
Yep. Yeah, see, that's why I say you can throw Alabama right back in the scenario. So that's all the committee is gonna favor. That's why I'm scared. If something happened, if Oklahoma drop, or if Michigan drop, or someone Cincinnati drop. I mean, you may very much see a 2-loss team in the college football playoff because the first thing they're gonna favor is Alabama over Ohio State and Notre Dame, and they're gonna put Alabama over Notre Dame. They're gonna favor that, which is I agree. I think Alabama is better than Notre Dame, probably better than both of those schools. So again, I just can't wait for Saturday, man. I just hope everything stay the same. I just don't want to see another I just don't want to see the first ever 2-loss team. Even though I made a bold prediction this morning that you could very much see a 2-loss team compete in the college football playoff, but I think Notre Dame is going to be hurt. Pretty much, I think it's going to become a factor that Coach Brian Kelly not there, that he left during on the run when they still have a shot to get into the playoffs. That can very much hurt them. And again, I hate seeing Notre Dame in the college football playoff because they almost seem like when they play someone, they overmatched.
Right, and then we also looking at one more thing too here in that scenario too. How about if Alabama does somehow beat Georgia?
Okay,
they're not gonna knock Georgia out.
No,
because Georgia can beat any other team that's.
They can beat anybody in top 10. They can beat anybody in the down.
So now, when that scenario happens, then that's gonna push out. If everybody else wins and then Alabama happens to beat Georgia, that's gonna push part of Alabama number 1, Georgia part goes number 2, and then you got Michigan, and then you got
Cincy,
staying right there. But if Cincy lose, then you got Oklahoma State. If they win, jumps up in there. But then then the possibility you can see Ohio State back up in that.
That's what I'm saying. Too. You just got to hold.
You got a lot of scenarios.
We got a lot of scenarios, man. Cincinnati got to handle business against Houston. They have to handle business against Houston. They have to make sure they secure the bag against Houston because if they lose, which is I made a bold prediction this morning that Houston U of H will upset them. They will be dropped out, and Oklahoma State will have a chance. Oklahoma State will have the opportunity if they handle business. The last thing you need to know, last thing you need is Oklahoma State to fall.
Yeah, but then, like we said, if Alabama beats Georgia, they're not gonna knock Georgia all the way out of that top 4.
No, they're gonna be at least 2 or 3. They're gonna fall at least 2 or 3. They're gonna be in. Yeah, that's for sure. They're gonna be a lock.
In my personal opinion, I just want I don't want like to see Alabama in it because they've been in it so many times. Times let other teams to vie for it. I mean, right now if you look at anything goes on, I mean Georgia's gonna have the will unless something happens to Davis or some dramatically happen in the game against Alabama, he gets hurt or something. We don't want to allow that. So there's a lot of stuff that can happen here in the next 2 to 3 days leading up to that.
I got a question for you though. Ray. Do you think Georgia's offense is good enough to beat Alabama? Do you think Georgia's offense is good enough? We know their defense elite. We know they got the best defense in the country. Do you think their offense is good enough?
Well, the thing that you have to look at Georgia's offense. Georgia's offense is based off of a 3-headed running monster. Mm-hmm. You got White, you got Cook, and then you got that freshman that comes in. But the thing that people don't understand where Georgia uses that running backs, the first guy, White, he got speed and he's got power. Cook, he's got a underlying speed, but he's got underlying power too. So they're not interchangeable. It's not like you got a change of a pace guy coming in and stuff like that. But Cook is more shiftier than White. But then you bring the freshman in, that changes the whole narrow because you can put the freshman in, he can power up that middle all day long, and he still got a breakaway speed.
Yep.
So, but then you're gonna have Pickens coming back. That's the X factor for Georgia because the
receiver, Pickens.
His number 1 wide receiver hadn't played all season long. He comes back for this game here. He was ready to come back last game. They held him out for precaution reasons for this game only. So they got him ready for this game right here because he's gonna be a decided factor because you got to roll double team with him. But guess what? The other wide receivers that have been doing good all year, they're gonna be in single coverage. Can Alabama's defense put pressure on Stetson Bennett? And I don't think so right now because that Georgia offensive line is so big, so powerful, and they so susceptible to speed because they can run these counter trade plays and their tackles get out there faster than the running backs.
Yep.
It's just unbelievable how Georgia is built. Georgia is built like Alabama type deal was about a year ago, 2 years ago with but they got a 3-headed monster. They don't have like Henry and all them, the one running back that does everything for them. They got 3 complementary running backs to each other. So, and then if you got Stetson Bennett, he's not doing anything. They could put a trick like Alabama did. You know how Georgia played Alabama the last 2 times in the conference and the national championship. They had to pull the starting quarterback and the backup quarterback come out there and ran the thing. And guess who's waiting in the wing? Guess who's waiting in the wings for Georgia? JT Daniels.
JT Daniels, yep.
So I mean, he's been injured, but he's healthier. But Stetson Bennett's got the hot hand, so they ride him with the hot hand. And I think Stetson Bennett's got something that he wants to prove to himself because he is a Georgia native from Georgia, from right there, and he's a hometown boy. He wants to become the next hometown hero. And if he does what he's been doing all his regular season, don't force no turnovers, play the game, give what you got. That's what he does. He's not
Yep.
he's not a strong power arm. He can throw the ball deep, but he's not a strong arm. So what's going to happen is Alabama likes to give you the underneath stuff. You can dunk Alabama. You got a great defense. All you got to do is keep that defense. If Georgia plays like the Baltimore Ravens did when they had Trent Dilfer at quarterback and Ray Lewis on defense,
the best defense in history, in NFL history that you ever saw.
If you have that type of scenario, you don't force any turnover and give Alabama any short field. Alabama has to drive on you.
Yep.
And you see what they did against Auburn. And Auburn's defense is not as good as Georgia's defense. And Auburn offense had that one-legged quarterback really the whole entire game. He got hurt in like the third
quarter. He got hurt in like the third quarter.
Yeah, it's almost like a Leftwich situation,
Yep.
So
and then you can still study in that game. You can see Alabama just blitzing, blitzing on them. I don't understand. I don't know if Auburn had another backup left in now, but the only backup I knew, I know him. He's from Houston, a quarterback, Demetrius Davis. He's a dual threat quarterback. I don't know if he suited up, but I don't know why he wasn't out of the game if he wasn't hobbling. So they must didn't trust their quarterback situation. Auburn must didn't trust their quarterback situation that good.
Well, the head coach came out and said that he wasn't ready to play this year. They wanted to keep him off and let him learn. And
I know
when you got Nix, injured, he's sitting there on a cast. You don't have too many options. I mean, he was the third quarterback, and you don't know how much reps he had in practice and stuff like that. So I mean, that's a lot of stuff. But and then again, they played good. They still playing good. He still had a hot hand, even though he got hurt. He couldn't do as much. But I mean, it cost him at the end. But I mean, if you look at two to three situations that you see, Alabama has played when they played Texas A&M. Texas A&M wasn't even ranked. They beat them.
Yeah.
Alabama has had close calls during the season.
Yep.
The teams that they supposed to murder. Yep. They supposed to go out there, even though it was a rivalry game, and the records don't mean nothing. But I mean, Alabama was superior over Auburn if you look at the paperwork.
Yep.
And we were talking about you had your paper champions and you have your champions on the field. And most time, Alabama gets the credit because what they see on the paper.
Yep.
You still got to go out and play the game. And, I mean, Nick Saban can do so much to get your team ready, but the players got to perform the game plan.
Yep.
And what kind of game plan do you have against Georgia?
Yep.
I mean, if you look at what Georgia has done, and if you look at what Davis has done, Davis has been double teamed. He has been triple teamed. And they tried to cut block him, and it didn't work. All three of those blocks did not work because he's so deceptive. He can hurdle over. He's an athletic 300-pound guy. He can run, he can jump, he can maneuver, and he's unblockable.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of game plan are you going to have? What are you going to run all your stuff to the outside?
There's no game plan for that. No game plan for all that.
I mean, the only thing you could do is run a middle screen, and hopefully he doesn't bat the ball down, or you can get it out before that. But the Georgia linebackers are right there. I mean, this guy's. I'm gonna tell you what's good about Georgia running defense is this guy takes up all the blocks. Your linebackers out searching the seats. You find where the ball's at, boom, they're there. The hole is never there because he disrupts the hole. So for Alabama, they're gonna have to reset the offensive. They're gonna have to reset the line of scrimmage. If the line of scrimmage gets set in the backfield, Alabama's gonna have a hard time in this ball game. So if you look at that situation there, but we got an opening. Duke's opened up. No coaches. They parted ways with Cutcliffe. He did a class act too. I mean, he went to the administrators and they sat down. They worked out a deal, but he had enough time to tell his team and stuff like that. Even though Duke don't have a bowl game, I mean, you got to feel for these guys who quickly jumping out like Brian Kelly did. He only
Mhm.
met with his team for about a few minutes, and then he's on the jet. Next thing you know, you look on TV, he's in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, with his purple
Yeah.
and gold on.
I mean, Brian Kelly. I mean, I don't know which situation even worse. Lincoln Riley, Brian Kelly. He wrote
I
a
think,
letter. I mean, he wrote a text to all the players
yeah,
just to let them know that he was gone. You couldn't tell the players that you was gonna leave. Next thing
no,
you know, you in Baton Rouge. I mean, that's a shame. That's a damn shame, and I hate stuff like that. He had to tell the players through text. Through text, he's going. He's gone. It didn't want a man up and tell him face to face, "Hey, this was my last game. I'm heading to Baton Rouge." He had to tell him
yeah,
through text, and that's tough, man. That is tough to hear that your coach is leaving you, and you're not even told that. He's behind the scenes already working out deals, and not just worried about hey, we still in the championship run, we still can get in the college football playoff, but you sneak out and you already in Baton Rouge the moment the TV comes on, the moment the players figure out, but you have to shoot a text to all the players.
yeah. And another thing you look at this too is his acceptance speech at to the players and stuff like that. Did you
Mm-hmm.
watch that? Did you watch it? It went virtual. Did you watch any of that? When
No,
he
I don't
told
think
them,
I saw it.
he slapped Notre Dame in the face.
Damn.
I mean, he slapped Notre Dame right in the face. He said it. He didn't mention Notre Dame, but he mentioned that he wanted to come to the SEC, the best conference in the thing. So
Yeah,
you tell,
I saw it. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and then he's like telling his players like, the top programs. We want to come here to play the top, this and that. But why did he do that at Notre Dame? Why did he have
Yep,
Notre Dame play these top tier teams and stuff like
yep,
that?
yep.
To me, I think that's what two different situations, two different things, two different classifiers. I mean, Notre Dame is kind of hard to get in because they don't do the NCAA minimum requirement of 700 SAT. You got to be real smart to get in Notre Dame too. Notre Dame has a higher barometer in their SAT scores than most colleges, and they don't take the middle of the guy. He said it was kind of hard to recruit Notre Dame because you got to have academics, got to be outstanding. Plus, you got to score high on the SAT. And the minimum, the NCAA minimum requirement is 700. That's
Yeah,
just that's 350 when you put your name on the thing. You only got to score another, you know, 250 on the test to get in to get the minimum of the NCAA requirements. So I mean, I understand his dilemma and stuff like that. But like you say, you telling your players by text.
yeah,
I mean, that's just you scared to go look your players in the eye and say,
yep,
hey, me and my family decided that LSU is a better opportunity for us. I did what I could do here. I want to move on to a bigger, broader thing, and I hope y'all understand that. And then you can leave. But I
yep.
mean, you gotta give some props to schools and stuff like that. Even though I don't like Duke's my rival because I'm a North Carolina fan and stuff like that. But you still got to give it up to Coach Kunkov, the way he went to the administrator and say, hey, look, I think it might be time for me to depart after 14 years. The
Yeah,
last 3 seasons been not where I wanted it to be. I think I gave my all, but I have enough opportunity to tell my team, I'm ready to part ways if we want to come up, and they got an agreement. I mean, that's a class act.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
Anytime you get into agreement with the team, the administrators, you on a good sign. You on a good foot. But like you said, man, for Brian Kelly to slap Notre Dame in the face, basically you saying we coming to the best conference. Basically, that's a slap in the face of your team. That's just saying your team ain't good enough. Your team ain't just really good enough. That's what you're basically telling the team, and you're basically saying this team is not that good, not good enough. And the last couple of years, how is they not good enough? They've been competitive. They've been competing in college football playoffs. But you admit to the public, you basically say to the public that you're coming into the best conference, and like why you have some of them teams like LSU or something like that, Bama or something like that? Why you weren't competing against some of those teams in the regular season? I mean, again, like you said, I agree with you. That's a slap in the face to the players and to that program and to that players that played for Notre Dame. That's a slap in the face of them people.
and then if you look at Lincoln Riley, the 5-star quarterback that was going to Oklahoma, he decommitted, and
Yeah,
then as soon as Lincoln Riley signed the paperwork and came on television, he committed to USC. Even though he is a California guy, but that's kind of slapping. That's kind of saying, "Hey, I went to Oklahoma because of him, and then he left. I'm gonna pull mine." And then he signed the paperwork, get on TV, and as soon as he got his press conference going, the thing popped up on the screen on ESPN saying, "Hey, the number one 5-star recruit decommitted from Oklahoma, signed with USC."
Man. Oh, man, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy. I mean, I think it's a lot of how many players that decommitted from Oklahoma? Because I know some of them going to USC. I know some of them would definitely probably go to USC because Lincoln Riley kind of recruited them. He came in their living room, so I know some of them. Most of the people that decommitted from Oklahoma, they're going to USC. I mean, the Rattler situation. I heard about Oakland. I heard about somewhere between Arizona State, for Spencer Rattler. I want to. You think Keller Williams stay in Oklahoma? You think he stays in Oklahoma?
It all depends on who's the next head coach. And like I said, Josh Heupel's name has been thrown out there. His name's been. I mean, he's a former Oklahoma guy, but he just got to Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
So that situation is going to be kind of buzzing too.
Yeah.
There were some rumors that they were trying to offer Bob Stoops to stay there.
Yeah.
But somebody said he turned it down. He's just going to be there until they get it, for the bowl game and stuff like that. So, two of them running backs and quarterback. What I seen. That's from Eric, and Eric also said Brown a 5-star running back too. So, but I mean Lincoln Riley is a good recruiter.
Yeah. He's going to help that USC. He's going to make a big addition to that USC program, and you already seeing players decommit for Oklahoma, and these are 5-star players. These are not just some type of players that's not good. These are great 5-star players that come from their high school. That was the best in their high school country and stuff like that going. So Lincoln Riley is going to do a lot for the USC program. In about a couple years, I can see Lincoln Riley getting them to a college football playoff scenario.
I mean, I understand USC, California and Texas are a hotbed for high school football players and stuff like that. Del Rey is one of the good ones out on the West Coast and stuff like that. I understand that. But to me, I still think Lincoln Riley is dipping out on the SEC. I think he's scared that his offense won't wrap up toward that, and then he's got to recruit against Nick Saban and all them. So I mean, by him doing USC is a little bit better shot because he can keep all the people in California and still have to produce a good team. I mean, he's trying to probably bring USC back to his prominent days. I mean, USC with Hilton there, it wasn't the same USC teams, and Jim Moore had a little bit of run at UCLA, and he went to UConn. So now he's at UConn. He's been out of college football for a while, so he's trying to revitalize UConn. So I mean, there's a lot of moving parts going on around here, around these college. One hint I heard that Oklahoma should have gone after the Mississippi State coach Mike Lynch.
Yeah.
Yeah, he fit right back into the Big 12. No defense, all offense. I mean,
yeah,
his style will fit more better than it does in the SEC because they don't have a real strong defensive presence, but they do have a strong offensive presence. So, but I mean, to me, who do you think would take that? I mean, the Oklahoma job is a good job to have. I mean, they're a predominant team. They won national championship there. I mean, Stoops has brought them, to that relevant, and Lincoln Riley kept it going with with the 2 back-to-back Heisman's,
yeah,
trophy winners and stuff like that. So, I mean, you look at the Oklahoma team. So, who would you like to be at Oklahoma?
For the head coaching gig?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of. I would like to see Coach O go to Oklahoma. Even though I think it would be the end. I think it's the end of him. But I would like to see Coach Ed Orgeron be at Oklahoma. Mike Leake is an option. I would like to see Coach O, man, at Oklahoma. I would definitely like to see Coach O get the job. I think he's a nice head coach. I think he's a great person. and he can also get recruits in there as well. It's just unfortunate how bad that program just fell off after the 2 years of the national championship. How bad that program has gotten.
Well, I mean, he's a class act too. I mean, him and administrative, he knew. I mean, the team fight for him the last game against Texas, Texas A&M, and won that game, gave him a bowl game. So I mean, if they would have lost that game, it would have been over for his career at LSU. He gets one more game, stuff like that for him to his goodbye swan song. But it's not like the game that he really wanted to be in right now, national championship. But I mean, if you look at LSU, you look at this LSU team. Their two All-American corners both got hurt, season-ending injuries. I mean, some of the injuries derailed LSU team. I mean, Max Johnson he's a good working quarterback, but it was like the defense, gave up a little bit because of the two All-American corners, and they really had a freshman corner and a sophomore corner who didn't really play that much. So, I mean, if you look at the injuries, kind of did LSU in wrong, but I mean, then again, a lot of talking heads wanted Ogeron out of there, even though he is an LSU guy. He went to school there and stuff like that. But I don't think he said in an article that he said this is it for his coaching job. He's just not going to take any more coaching job because he wants to go around and be with his kid, who's a quarterback. And that was kind of interesting too. Ogeron coaching and his son playing against him this year.
Yeah.
So he wants to go and watch his son play now. So. It's kind of interesting here. So, but I mean, we will talk a little bit more about all this stuff on Saturday. We got first hour we're going to talk about all the coaching carousel, all the hires and stuff like that. This is a special edition of the college breakdown show on the All Sports All Place. We're going to go ahead and take a commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Yes, sir.
What did you say?
I said Kobe Bean Bryant has been overrated ever since he passed away.
Now, I'd say they could lose about 4, but I don't see them losing 5. You know what I mean?
All sports, all plays. 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 365, we're making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.
Welcome back to the College Breakdown on All Sports, All Place Network. I'm Ray Cruz with my co-host, Coach Dante. He is the coach of all facts and fiction on the College Sports Breakdown show. You can catch us every Saturday at 9 to 12 leading up to that college football. We're getting close to that. We're in the championship week of college football when we got 4 games today. Well, we got 2 games today. We got the Conference USA Championship game, Western Kentucky, the Hilltoppers against the UTSA Roadrunners. And then we got the Pac-12 Conference Championship with Oregon playing Utah, a revenge game from about 2 weeks ago. And let's talk a little bit about the Western Kentucky, the Hilltopper game and Conference USA. I mean, if you look at this game will be played tonight at 7 o'clock at San Antonio, Texas. CBS Sports Network. The Hilltoppers come in at 8-4, and the Roadrunners come in at 11-1. They lost. Roadrunners finally lost their first game this season against North Texas, in the the last week's game here. So let's talk about this game here. We got an 8-4 team and an 11-1 team. Western Kentucky. What do you see in this ball game? You think Western Kentucky is going to? I mean, they're a little bit more well known than the UTSA schools.
Yeah.
So I mean, but again, they're it's like a little minor conference game. It's not a Power 5 conference team.
Yeah.
Any means. So what do you see the Hilltoppers doing tonight? You see this is going to be a good game by UTSA trying to bounce back from that loss last week?
Yeah, I think UTSA will come in motivated, ready to play after the tough loss last weekend. I can see Kentucky, Western Kentucky averaged 43 points per game, so they pretty much can put points on the board. They allow 27, so their defense is kind of iffy. Their defense is kind of inconsistent. But UTSA, they only give up 22 points per game, so their defense is kind of good. They're a good defensive team, and they score 36 points per game. So again, the rushing yards, UTSA loves to run the football, 179 yards per game. That is sick, and 1-2 yards per game. So again, UTSA look like they're great they're pretty decent on defense. And the quarterback from Western Kentucky, 52 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. That's pretty awesome, man. That's a pretty awesome stat line. But I got UTSA bouncing back and beating Western Kentucky. I think this is going to be a competitive football game. I think it's going to be competitive. People think it is. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think UTSA will pull this victory out.
Yeah, if you look at something like this too, and reading some of my notes here, and I got an interesting thing on my eye here. Western Kentucky didn't have an offense last year, so the head coach Tyson Hilton from Houston Baptist went to an HBU school and pulled away Zach Kidley and to be his new offensive coordinator, and also came along the star quarterback for that and a big time wide receiver. So he stole away a coach and he brought a quarterback and a big time wide receiver over there. So I mean, if you look at it, a 4-loss team, and then UTSA was playing good all the way up to that North Texas game.
Yeah, they got throttled too.
Yes, and I mean the Hilltoppers are trending upward. And they rolled in the last 7 games after a 52-46 loss to UTSA, getting in better shape defensively and so on. So they have played already. UTSA has beat them. And if you look at it, their 53-21 blowout of Marshall team last week did everything. UTSA just rolled by. And then, North Texas team, so, I mean, 45-23. So But if you look at it, North Texas, of course, they wanted to be 12-0 and come into the Conference USA Championship. But if you look at UTSA is realistically pushing for a New Year Day game, and while a 12-0 would have been nice coming in complete, so they're battling with everybody else in that to get that New Year's Day bowl game. So not that question. That's going to be rolling in too, because ain't Notre Dame also playing for that New Year's 6 bowl game too if they don't make it into the college playoffs.
Yeah, Notre Dame, Ohio State, teams like that will be playing in the New Year's 6 bowl game. And Oklahoma, teams like that will be playing in the New Year's 6 bowl game as well if they don't make it. They don't make it into the playoffs.
And, we're looking at, you brought some good, interesting stats and stuff like that. I mean, the Roadrunners for UTSA are balanced. So you got to, if you take one away, then you got the other thing. But if they come balanced, again, like North Texas, what they did was they shot them. They took away the run. They made them one-dimensional. You can make a team one-dimensional, then you can put your pass. Whatever way you do it, you make them one-dimensional. If you take the passing game away, then you got to stop the running game. So most teams, what they do, they like to stop the running game because you get them a little bit more pressure on the quarterback to make these completions. And if you got a defense who likes, like Kentucky, Western Kentucky does, they got some good corners that like to cut in front and intercept the ball. You have a better chance of getting more turnovers in a passing game. That's why coaches like to stop the running game.
It's always important to stop the run game first because by them running the football, that opens up more things. That opens up the passing game and play action and stuff like that. It gets a little easier. Well, instead, when you're stopping the run, you can make them one-dimensional. It makes it easy for you get makes it easy. It just makes it easy to stop play action and screen in the screen game and stuff. So you always want to make a quarterback beat you from the pocket. You never want a team to be balanced as far as running the ball and passing on you. That, like I say again, it's even embarrassing if a team is just running the football on you to where they don't have to throw it. But you want to stop the run game. That's an important aspect of any type of football. You got to stop the run game. You got to stop it.
Yeah, and in the University of San Antonio, Texas, they have the least fewest turnovers. They don't get flagged enough to matter. So I mean, they play mistake free and they play penalty free. So that's a big thing too. But they did get a lot of stuff in that North Texas game. So I mean, can the pressure and it's the first time they're playing in a conference championship game. So you got a little bit more different pressure going through the regular season. Trying to get into that conference game. Now you got even more pressure trying to put the championship putting the trophy into your trophy case at the school. So and become that that team, and then putting pressure on everybody else, staying at 11 and 12, 11-1. So I mean, can UTSA really destroy Western Kentucky? I mean, Western Kentucky's got a good quarterback and good wide receiver, but the last few games they've been going up since that last time they have played. So this is a better Western Kentucky team than most. But it is also too that when you play a team again, now you got everything scouted out what they did to you last time. Then they got to come up with another change the game plan around. So to me, this is going to be a battle. What offensive coordinator came up with a better game plan this time, and what the defensive coordinator can do to the offense. So do you see them making any changes between the two games? I mean, West Kentucky didn't live up to where they needed to be. And now they made these changes. Now all of a sudden they're rolling. So now this team is coming in hot, and one team is coming in not hot right now.
It's always a glimpse when you see that when you see the team the first time instead of the second time. By the first time, you got it on film. They have it on film, so you know what to expect when they when you come out, because by you already seeing them. You watch multiple. You don't just watch film on your game when you first play them. You watch film on multiple games that they play. Especially you remember what they come out with the first time. So again, I think it's going to be a close ball game. I think it's going to be a better ball game. I think Western Kentucky is going to come out. It's going to be a close ball game. I got UTSA winning by at least a possession. They're going to win by at least possession. I got them winning by 7 points in this game, but I'll say it's always a big factor when you play a team the second time and you're able to make the adjustments by playing them the first time. You know what to expect. You know what they want to do. You know the strength. You know their weaknesses. And so don't be surprised if Western Kentucky come out and exploit that and use that to their advantage, because they're a far better football team than when UTSA played them the first time.
Yeah, if you look at it, you mentioned some of this other thing, but the Hilltoppers have a top passing attack in the nation, averaging 424.8 yards per game through the air. They lead the nation with 53 passing touchdowns, 12 better than Pittsburgh and Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
That caught my eye right there, who are tied for second. Senior quarterback Bailey Zapp transferred, like I said, from Houston Baptist, and is a phenomenal season with 4,968 yards passing and 52 passing touchdowns, and he completed 70% of his passes, and has limited his turnovers through just 9 picks. Zapp also has rushed for 3 scores. So, I mean, he could be a dual threat too. So, I mean, that's not going to be – when you have a dual threat quarterback, that gives a lot of problems for the other team's defensive coordinator. And to me, that's going to be a little bit thing. But they have that junior wide receiver, Mitchell Tinsley, who zapped many weapons. Tinsley has caught 71 passes for 1,126 yards, 15.9 average, and 10 touchdowns. He's the second team to junior transfer Jared Stearns, who has 127 catches. So he's got 2 wide receivers over 1,000 yards.
Yeah, he's got 2 wide receivers over 1,000 yards. You got Stern also 127 catches, 1,500 yards and 12 touchdowns. So he's got 2 legit wide receivers over there that can make plays. So again, this can be a very close game, man. So don't be surprised if Western Kentucky come out and they win this football game. And I want to see how UTSA comes out and respond after getting shellacked last weekend, because that's always what I like to see. I want to see how you respond after you taking a loss, especially a beatdown like that, a team that you really supposed to beat. I want to see how they respond, and I just want to see if Western Kentucky jumps on them 7-0, 14-0, how's they going to respond? Is they going to lay an egg? Is they going to keep fighting? That's what I want to see. If they get punched in the mouth again, will they be able to recover? They didn't recover last week. Will they be able to recover? That's the most important thing I want to see from UTSA. If they get punched in the mouth, can they wake up and recover? Because they're not used to getting punched in the mouth this whole season. They got punched in the mouth probably once. And after that, every game they used to punching people in the mouth. And now, since they got punched in the mouth last week and got punched fully in the mouth and got KO'd and got knocked out, and they never recovered. How they respond if Western Kentucky is up? Will they punch back or will they stay down? That's what I'm gonna be interested in seeing.
Yeah, and if you look at the Road Warriors defense, they have this guy, a senior linebacker, Clarence Hicks. Hicks has a team leading 8 sacks for 50 yards and has rushed 31 tackles, including 21 solos. He has one forced fumble, 2 pass breakups, and 1 interception in the regular season. Meeting against Western Kentucky, he recorded a pass breakup in his second career pick. So I mean, that's one thing going for you too. You got a senior linebacker who can get in there and get some sacks and stuff like that, plays like thing. But junior safety, they have is Rashid Wisdom. He has also been disruptive and forced at least the team with 78 tackles, including 58 solos and 6 pass breakups. He has 3 double-digit tackles efforts, including 13 tackles performance at Western Kentucky on October 9th. So like I said, since that October 9th meeting, Western Kentucky has gotten better. So this is going to be a good barometer if they've gotten better than since October 9th against the same team. And that's going to be the question that that you want to think about, in this situation.
Yeah.
Western Kentucky, he also had 10 tackles in the division clinching 34-31 win over UAB on November 20th. For his career, Wisdom has recorded 217 tackles, including 149 solo with 9 break passes and 2 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and 5 interceptions, including 2 return for a touchdown. So I mean, if you look at what we see in this situation for tonight, it's going to be a lot of you got to protect the ball. So
Yeah,
that's going to be the key. So how good will UTSA protect the ball? With what they say they don't turn the ball over enough, and when they don't get enough penalties, can they keep that up against Western Kentucky tonight?
yeah, I believe they can keep that ability up, man. Like I said, they're a high scoring football team, and I think it's going to be a different ball game. I think it's going to be a different ball game they saw last time. I think Western Kentucky has a very good chance of winning. So if they can come out, they can establish a little bit of a running game, and they can and that's going to open up the pass. And you said the quarterback is also a dual threat quarterback, so it's going to even be much more tougher to even stop him now that you got to account for his legs. So yes, I believe they don't make any mistakes and they don't turn the ball over. And the UTSA defense is a pretty good defense. They're giving up 22 points per game, so they're pretty balanced on the defensive side of the ball as well. So again, if they come out, not turn the ball over, and get a little bit more established in the run game, I think this can be a different ball game.
Yeah, I think so too. I think this is going to be a more competitive game than the first game was on October 9th. So, I mean, if you look at this situation here, the Hilltoppers got to play mistake-free. They didn't play mistake-free last time. So they got to play mistake-free, no penalties, and they got to win the time of possession, and they got to play that type of offense. If they can't, really, Western Kentucky doesn't really play to keep the possessions. They play to get more reps on the offensive side. So UTSA is a more balanced team, so that means they got a little bit of running, and they can keep this Western Kentucky offense. That's what they did on October 9th. They kept their game plan was to run the ball, and they ran it effectively. And then Western Kentucky helped them out with some short field with them 2 interceptions and turnovers and stuff like that. So to me, Western Kentucky has to not give them short field. If they get UTSA short field, it's going to be a long night for Western Kentucky.
Yeah, it will. It will. Anytime you give a team a short field, it would be a long night. That opens up shorter scoring drives for them, and your defense not going to be able to hold a short drive every single time. I definitely agree with that.
So now when we're coming into conference championship games and stuff like that, special teams is going to be a big factor. So do we see anybody getting a kickoff return back for a touchdown? I mean, they're short and few. Since they came up with the new rule, you can fair catch at the 1, and if you can fair catch and stuff like that, and you get the ball at the 20. So I mean, to me, or the 25, and then the punt. The punt is about the effective one that you can look and see you get more returns, because sometimes you're punting in a little bit longer field, you're not kicking it in the end zone. But if you get good punt recoveries, you get more times you get a fair catch.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how big would the special teams be tonight?
I think special teams is very important as well, whether it be a block punt, block field goal, anything. I'm going to make a bold prediction. You will see a special teams turnover. You will see a special teams fumble on somebody. I can't. It's going to be hard to predict who, but you will see a special team turnover, and you may see one block. You're going to see one block. I think special teams is going to make a difference in this football game.
And when we talk about special teams, the only reason I brought it up because that Florida State game, when the Florida State guy whiffed the ball and it fell off the tee, so he couldn't re-kick it. If it didn't fall off the tee, he would be able to re-kick it, but it fell off the tee.
Yeah.
Dude missed it a whole. He didn't even make the contact. So I mean, if you get that onside thing and you whiffed it like that, I mean, and then you've seen other teams like North Carolina couldn't come up with the onside kick. NC State did, and it came back and won.
Yeah.
With 9 down, they came back and won. That was just a complete block by North Carolina. Then you have other teams, these onside kicks, they're not like they used to. They tell you kick it end over end, make it hop on that second bounce to make it hop anymore.
Yeah.
Now teams are doing it. Now these kickers got creative where they're kicking it low to the ground and kicking it to the middle, and they chasing it.
Yeah. I seen that plenty of times. And that is kind of tough. Where the kicker, or you'll see the kicker, they like he go to one side and then he goes to the other, and it's multiple ways they do that, man. It's kind of tricky. You just never know what the kicker is thinking. You never know what player he's looking at. That's why it's so important. If you're the receiving team or the special teams, you got to always keep your head up and look and just be ready. Because you never know what's in that kicker mind. You never know if he's going to kick it straight to you or make it hop or kick it up the middle. That's why it's so important. Every special teams receiving team has to be ready in that situation.
Yeah, and that's like I said. He whipped on it and stuff like that. So I mean, it's kind of dignitary to the fact that special teams is key in games, and sometimes they're trying to take one of the additional of the special team away, the kickoff. They're trying to do away with the kickoff and stuff like that. But I mean, these special teams are important, and people, don't. The punters are important because they got to keep the ball and get them, try to pin them deep and stuff like that. And the kickoff is initial because you want to get a good field position to start off your drive. You don't want to always start at the 25 and go 75 yards down the field because you have long fields and stuff like that. And that's why defense and all that is very meticulous. That's why you want the short fields, so you don't have to worry about all that, and you can have less time making penalties and less time making offensive turnovers. I mean, but in some cases, not really that, because it's even this one football game that a team intercepted it and then threw it right back to them the very next play. So,
yep.
So when these two teams have to play and they get a chance to pick it off. Some coaches tell the defensive quarterbacks, just block it down. But these are key games, and then one interception can turn over a momentum of the game.
Yeah.
So does the coach tell them, hey, we know you told you do this during the regular season. Now we want to flip it for championship time. So
it's always adjustments that you could make, but I'd rather basically go. Depends on the scenario. It depends on the scenario, basically, in the situation that you're in. If you're willing to make that change or keep it the same, It's all about being consistent, but it just depends on what the coach see at that point of time. It also depends on the scenario and the situation, because like you said, it's big. I mean, it's big. This is a big game. Championship game is a big game because you want to win your conference championship, you want to win your tournament, whatever. This is a big game for them, and then you probably can fight for a New Year's Six bowl. You just never know. So why some of these decisions are very important, coaching decisions.
Yeah, I agree with you on that in that situation. So we're gonna get ready and take another break here and get you set up for this guy has the question, and we're gonna answer your question here coming up on the College Breakdown on the All Sports All Place Network. We're gonna be right back after these words from our sponsors.
This is the Fox D Streaming Network. Register to come on our channel at foxdnetwork.com.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a place. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so type the laces. All sports, all plays. Network. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.
What did you say?
I said Kobe Bean Bryant has been overrated ever since he passed away.
Now, I'd say they could lose about 4, but I don't see them losing 5. You know what I mean?
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.
Welcome back to the College Breakdown Show on the All Sports All Place Network. We're coming to you live on our Roku TV platform, also our Facebook, also our YouTube, and every other platform that we're coming across. So you can catch us there. If you want to do a comment, you can go to either our YouTube channel or our Facebook channel to leave us a comment right there, and we can answer your questions here. Just like we got Andre asking the question tonight, you know, what do you think Utah has a solid chance of winning tonight if they play like they did last week? But you know, again, you're playing back-to-back weeks, so you know you got a game film what they tried to do to you last time. So now, my question to you is, Coach Dante, can Oregon come up with a game plan to counteract what Utah did to them last week?
I mean, like I say, once you see a team the second time, you know what they want to do. You know how. You just know how they are gonna play. You know how they expose everything you did. And I called that upset. I said that week Utah was gonna beat Oregon. And happily they just beat them down, and they were just a better football team that night and a more physical, tough football team. Oregon, to me, Oregon was an overrated team. They beat Ohio State. I know they went in there and beat Ohio State. But they got beat by Stanford, which is I thought they should have won that game, and they should have beat Stanford. Kayvon Thibodeau had got put out the game for roughing the passer penalty. They had so many penalties down the stretch that killed themselves, that hurt them, shot themselves in the foot on that game, because I did that Oregon and Stanford game, and Stanford, they broke their momentum. And after that game, after I put win against Oregon against Utah, and again, I think Oregon has a chance to bounce back in this game. The quarterback got to be a little more consistent. They lost one of their top running backs. I think in the Stanford game, CJ Ferdell, they lost him earlier this season. That's a big blow to them. But I think Oregon can make the same adjustments again. I think they can make the adjustments. Go back, look at some film on that game, and I think they can come out and make the adjustment. But you have to establish the running game against Utah. You cannot get down early. You have to stay in this game against Utah. You cannot have the game get out of hand. And they got to better tackle well. They got to better tackle well. They got to better block for their quarterback. They got to better do all of those things. So if they can do those things, they will be fine. They got to get off to a good start too.
Yeah, and Coach Evans B said FTR was around Oregon the day of the game in the morning, and that team looked like it had no focus whatsoever. I agree with you, but also too, Oregon sometimes there's a different beast when they go into Utah. Utah's a different animal when you play in Utah. But luckily, this game is at 8:00 tonight, and this game is played at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. Nowhere near Utah, nowhere near Oregon. It's a neutral site court game. And we know how Utah is on the road. They're not that very good. They're better at home than they do on the road. Same thing with, Oregon. Oregon's a little bit better on the road. They beat Ohio State in Columbus. That Stanford game you're talking about, too, that game ended like on a pass interference that was never called. It was called, and to me, that wasn't pass interference. So, to make everything worse and wild than that. So I understand that momentum could break that way too because they got frustrated with that game. Also too, Utah had a good game plan. They took Thibodeau out of the game, out of the pass rush. He had no chance getting back there whatsoever because they had these quick plays, quick throws, and stuff like that. So now, how do you counteract what you see tonight, and how you counteract from last week? Because the same game plan is not going to beat you the second time around. They're gonna have to come with something different. And if I was smart with Oregon and Thibodeau, I would line Thibodeau all over the field. Not like
I will put Kayvon, a dominant person like that. I will put him all over the defensive line. I will move him straight over the defensive line pretty much every single play. Because by him being such a dominant force, they're gonna double team him, and it should be open up somebody to be free to get in the backfield. So just like you said, if I'm switching up, I'm putting them all over the line of scrimmage. After every play, you go over the nose tackle, defensive end, get into the tackle spot. I'm putting them all over the defensive line. I'm putting them all over. So find each and every way for him to make an impact on this team and to rake this game. So I'm putting them all over the defensive line. I'm just moving them around. I'm moving them around every single time, every play.
Well, too, Oregon's betting on the chumps because they know they're gonna get them back. And to me, that Oregon State and Oregon game, last week, that just told me that Oregon was focused and they were getting their hand in task because that game last week was, that wasn't even the Civil War I thought it was going to be. Oregon came out and just thrust them. They just came out and they took the momentum away right the first half. They took the momentum away. Oregon State did get a little bit of drive on them on their defense and stuff. But Thibodeau was, like I said, he was a typical man beast in that game too. But they didn't tip nothing off in that Oregon State game, moving him around in different spots. They still kept him in the same spot. To me, how did they counteract Utah's defense in this game and with their offense? What kind of offensive scheme do you see Oregon doing tonight?
Just the normal offensive scheme they play. I want them to get a little more balance in the run game. They have a pretty decent back. They lost one of their backs this year, CJ Ferdell. He was pretty explosive. They also have another great running back that was pretty much running the ball very good again in that Stanford game as well. But I want to see a little more of a running game, a little more screen game, wide receiver screens. I just want to see a little more balance. Sometimes they get in those situations where they just throw heavy and a lot of check downs for us. Last time I saw against Stanford and Utah, I want to see a little more big plays. I want to see some big plays and some more play action game for Brown in this Oregon offense. I want to see this offense open up a little more.
Yeah, to me, like when Coach Evans B said that Oregon didn't look focused. Oregon didn't. That it wasn't the Oregon team that played Utah.
No,
I'm sorry. That was not the Oregon team that went to Ohio State and beat them in Columbus. That team looked uninspired. They looked like they looked like they got defeated. That when they got hit in the mouth, they didn't hit back. When Ohio State hit them in the mouth, Oregon hit back.
yep,
And to me, they thought they'd go in there and not be a cakewall, but be somewhere competitive in there. But like I said, they didn't look no intensity of that Oregon team before. I mean, they looked like they were lost out there. They looked like they didn't play football before. And then they turned around the next following week. I guess they got the good practice in, got the good butt whooping, and then they just kicked off again. Look up that Oregon team last week looked like the Oregon team that went to Ohio State
yep,
and beat them. I mean, that's just. I mean, yeah, they're playing in Ogden Stadium in Oregon. I mean, but still, they're playing against a rivalry team. They just went in there and took the. They showed they were the better team,
yeah,
and I think Oregon is a better team than Utah. I think Oregon is going to come in with some kind of array of schemes
yep,
that will counteract what Utah does. But now the question is, you can't run the same type of defense because Oregon's going to be prepared for it.
yeah.
Does Utah put some wrinkles in their defensive schemes?
Yep, I believe you have to. I believe you have to mix up some coverages. I believe you have to sometimes send pressure because a lot of times in that game, they were bringing some pressure at some point of time, with disrupting the flow of the Oregon offensive game. And again, you got to switch it up. Sometimes you can put some in the box and drop them out. Sometimes on certain situations, you can bring the house if you want to. But again, I believe this is going to be a different game. I definitely agree with you. Oregon is a better team than Utah. They just wasn't a better team that day. They just didn't come out to play. There was no energy, no pep in their step, no bounce in Oregon. They looked defeated. They looked defeated after being down 14-0. I didn't see no energy on the sideline. It just looked like they mentally and physically checked out when Utah put a butt whooping on them. And let's see how they're going to respond. Same thing like UTSA. They got their butt whooped last week and got knocked out for good and just stayed on the map. Let's see if Oregon can do the same. How they will respond when they get down 14-0 or get down 7-0. Will they wake up? Will they get up and fight, or will they just lay down? And Oregon got to come out with some sense of urgency and with some pride, and they got to come out smoking hot. They got to come out with a different game plan, and I believe they will this game.
Yeah, I look at something too in this game too is Dye, the running back for Oregon. We did not see Dye run like he did against Oregon State against Utah. They controlled Dye very very well on that end. So how do you look at Dye, but affecting this ball game today?
I think he can be a big part of it. And that was the running back I was talking about too. The other running back that was with CJ Friedel with the Stanford game that I saw that's a very good runner. That's a very good runner, very explosive. They got to get him more carries. They got to get him more involved. They got to open up the playbook for Oregon to be successful. But you got to definitely get Dye the ball and get him some touches, whether if it's out of the backfield or in the backfield. You definitely got to open it up and get this guy more touches. He's very explosive. He can also run downhill, so you definitely got to get this man more touches. But to start that early in the ball game, to try to open up everything, and open up some big plays. Oregon needs some big plays. And then I want to see a little more hurry-up offense. When you got momentum. You cannot sometimes let this defense get set when you have momentum. Do some hurry-up offenses. Get this defensive line tired. Try not to let this defense get set.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. To me, I think they should get Dye and put him in some kind of formations and not just line him up in that running back position, line him up in the slot position. I seen him do that a couple games ago, in that Stanford game, they ran them up in that
Mhm.
slot position. So why did they go away from that and not try that in Utah?
I guess it's something that the coaching staff saw differently in Utah that he couldn't exploit. But you got to do that. He's an explosive player. When you have a guy that can line up in a slot position and catch balls out of the backfield like a receiver, you got to use that to your advantage. And in this game, this is one of these games you got to use that at your advantage. With an explosive guy like that can also run between the tackles and that can catch balls like a receiver, you have to use that part. You have to get him the ball any way you can. Get him the ball any way you can. I don't care if it's on a crossing route. I don't care if it's on a quick screen or it's a little wheel route going down the sideline. You got to get this explosive guy the football. Also, get him some touches early on in the backfield. Kind of mix it up. And like I said, I want to see some more hurry up offenses when you have momentum and you're driving down down the field. Try not to let this Utah defense get set up and try to keep playing fast and playing with pace, and you get a defense tired when you're not letting them get set up. All of a sudden when they have to go down, they have to get up, go down every time you make a play. They have to go down, they hurry up and go down. Push the pace. Let's try not to let this Utah defense get set up, and I believe that's the adjustment. Some of the adjustments they can have to make. They did some of that against Stanford. They were successful like that against Stanford, those hurry ups, and they was able to run the ball between the tackles and use Verdell and out of the backfield. They were successful at one point in that game until CJ Verdell got hurt, until McKenzie got hot. McKinney got hot. Tanner McKee got hot in this Stanford offense, but they were doing some of that. I want to see some of that tonight.
Yeah, and then another thing too was big in that game against Utah was penalties. They didn't have so much penalty against Oregon State, but they had a lot against Utah because of the crowd noise and stuff. That part won't be affected tonight because it's supposed to be 50-50 of fans. Probably a little bit more Oregon fans because Oregon fans does travel better than Utah fans.
Yeah.
But if you look at that too, the penalties were the big barometer, and then the turnovers. How does Oregon eliminate the turnovers and eliminate the penalties that they had when they were up in Utah?
You eliminate turnovers by being smart, by reading the defense, reading coverages. You do that by being smart, not putting the football on the ground. I say it's got to be situations where you have to take a sack. It's got to be situations where you got to tuck it and run it, where you just can't force balls just because you feel like you have to make a play. You have to that's how you limit it. And then penalties. Like I say, that's on the coach. That is undisciplined. You can't have penalty after penalty when you have momentum. That's a coaching issue. That's being undisciplined. Every time you get a first down, you have to move back. That's on the head coach because, like I say, again, I'm a coach myself, so I know those penalties like that, mental errors like that, that's coaching. So coaching got to come with a better game plan and telling his players we can't have those type of holding penalties, false start penalties, and stuff like that. And the crowd noise sometimes will have an effect on that, but the crowd, it's a mutual site. So you just basically have both 50-50 fans in now. So again, the penalties, that's a coaching issue. It has been called undisciplined. You got to tell you guys we can't have penalties. We can't have false start penalties. We got to be a little more disciplined. That's a coaching issue, and it starts with the quarterback. You got to be able to limit turnovers. You got to know certain scenarios where you got to take a sack, throw the football away, and hold on to the football as you're going down and try and getting sacked. You got to learn how to hold on to the football. So that if they can keep those at a bare minimum, they have a chance because you give yourself more opportunities and more leverage to stay in the game without the turnovers or without the penalties.
Yeah, and that's a very good summary. But I'm reading over some of my notes while you were talking and stuff like that. So, Oregon run defense has been rocked all over the second half of the season, but Utah has ran over for 200 yards. Do we expect them to run about 200 more yards against them in this ball game?
I kind of don't expect it a little bit, but it could happen. It definitely could happen. That's why you got to establish the run game. You got to get this guy in some explosive situations where he can be successful. You got to get him. You got to get him the ball. You can definitely do it. You just got to get this man the ball. You got to give him the ball however way you could, and it starts with the running game and getting them out of the backfield. And I think they definitely could do it. I think I can see them doing it, but I think Utah will find a way to keep that from going.
Right, and then I see a question here. One of our guys off of Twitch. Who y'all got in the Final Four of the college football finals and title game? For me, he has Bama, Georgia, Cincinnati, Michigan in that order, and Cincinnati versus Michigan in the title game. My opinion, I have Georgia, Michigan, Cincinnati, and Oklahoma State because I have Alabama actually losing to Georgia in the SEC finals, and if that scenario holds up and they lose, Oklahoma State will jump in if they beat Baylor. That's what I got right now because I have them beating Baylor. So my final game, I have Georgia and Michigan playing in the final. I have Georgia actually winning it.
All right. Well, my prediction was a kind of little off this morning because I'm assuming I made a bold prediction because I'm assuming Cincinnati is going to fall to Houston. That was an upset pick, and Iowa was going to beat Michigan since I've been 4 weeks in a row with an upset pick. And so this is the way mine went down, and I hope it doesn't go down like this. I really hope everything stays the same. Or if someone loses, Oklahoma State get in that situation, nothing else changed. So this is how I have it. If depending on if my scenario goes down, it's proven to go down. Georgia, I got Georgia. I have Oklahoma State. I have Notre Dame. And you got to figure they're going to put Ohio State or Alabama back in the situation part. That's how I got it. If everything breaks down the way my prediction went, you got a feeling those are the teams that they're going to fight for Ohio State and Alabama to be pushed in.
Yeah, I agree there too. I just wanted to answer that question real quick. He popped it up there a few minutes ago, so I just wanted to make a break in there. We have exactly almost 28 minutes before the first kickoff of the night. That would be the Western Kentucky and the UTSA Hilltoppers. And you have which one do you have again winning the game?
You say what?
Which one do you have winning the Western Kentucky UTSA game?
I got UTSA. I got UTSA bouncing back and winning this game. I got UTSA bouncing back.
I'm taking Western Kentucky. I like the underdog. I'm going to take the underdog.
That's why I'll be making those bold predictions. I love underdogs, man. I like
the underdog. In these conference games like this, not the Power 5 conference, I always like to pull the underdog. Georgia, I got a little bit, because they're the dominant team all season long. But I just don't like Alabama, so I'm never gonna, I would never say I won't pick Alabama. But this year, I think Alabama's off a little bit. It's not like the typical Alabama team that we've seen in the past, where they have a strong running game and a strong wide receiver game. Too, if their starting running back is injured, then that's going to be a big blow for Alabama too. So he got injured last week. We don't know if he's going to play or not this week. Nick Saban won't make that call until right at kickoff time.
Yep.
So you got to make sure you're prepared for that. So, I mean, to me, I think it's sad. I like to see this because it'd be a different team. I mean, Georgia hasn't been into the playoffs all that much. Michigan hasn't been in it yet. Cincinnati hasn't been in it yet, and Oklahoma State hasn't been in it yet. So, I mean, we could get 3 new teams in it.
Yep.
Georgia win that 1 year. A couple of times, but then, so you can see a little bit of that situation with Georgia and all that. So you can see 3 new teams with 1 returning team. And that's the kind of way you like it because you want to see fresh bloods get in there and try to compete for the national championship.
Yep.
You just don't want to keep putting Alabama
in the same team.
And
I just don't like seeing the same team over and over again. It's kind of like how I used to think of the Patriots. I just don't like seeing them same teams over in the same scenario. I just want to see somebody different.
Right. And then, we've been talking about the Oregon and Utah game here. We're closing in on 26 minutes before kickoff here. For that first game, and then we're almost like an hour and a half before the Pac-12 game. So
Mhm.
to me, what do you see? What do you really see in this? We noticed that Utah likes to throw a lot of pressure. We
Yeah,
didn't see we didn't see Oregon take effective of that pressure. You know, sometimes coaches like to when you got a team that blitz from the corner, you want to throw that screen right behind that blitz
yeah.
because you got to make him, either stop his momentum when you're cocking over there, or sometimes coaches will fake that screen and throw it down
Mhm.
the field because the dude is relax his pass rush because he's starting them to throw over his head. So
Mhm.
I mean, we didn't see that too much in that first meeting. Will we
Yeah.
see that a little bit more in this meeting here to try to offset the Utah blitz?
Yo, see the quickest way you can beat a screen. You can beat a screenplay. Throw wide receiver screens. Throw wide receiver screens. Throw quick slants. You don't have the time to throw, make a big play or play action, throw up the field. Wide receiver screen or quick slants. That's the way you beat quick. That's the way you beat a blitz. You cannot beat a blitz on running the football or anything else because you're trying when you know they're stacking the box and they're gonna bring pressure. The first thing you do, you're in a shotgun and you're trying to get the ball out of your quarterback's hands real quick. So the quickest way to do that is throw some receiver screens. Throw a quick screen, throw a running back screen, or throw a quick slant. That's the quickest way you can beat the screen. That's how they got to approach the game. If they want to bring pressure, okay, I'm going to run a quick slant or I'm going to run a quick screen and I'm going to beat that pressure. And you make them back off. You make them back up. You make them play more coverage football or zone coverage. So that way you'll let them know, hey, I throw a quick screen or I just throw a quick slant. And when you're blitzing, you're leaving one-on-one coverage. Your receivers basically one-on-one coverage when you're blitzing everybody. So again, they got to be able to read that and take advantage of that.
Yeah, and some of the people put in their my notes on you caught my eyes when I'm doing some research. I like to put what people say about what happened in that first meeting and stuff like that. And this one guy says Oregon played well. Oregon's lost November road game to screw up the college playoff chances. Oregon gets in the Pac-12 championship. Oregon wins Pac-12 championships over Utah. Oregon goes off to win the Rose Bowl. Some people put comments in here. You got to play the game. Um, that's the scenario Oregon's playing for right now.
Yep.
The trip to the Rose Bowl.
Rose Bowl. Yep.
So I mean, you got that, and you got the revenge, and all it mixed in one. Do we see the Oregon team focus tonight better than we were in that road game up in Utah?
Yeah, I believe you see a little more pep in their step. You see a little more focus. I think you see a little more because, man, that game, they came out very dead. They look like they came out very dead and very shot. There was no flow, no momentum, no nothing on the sideline, no jump in their step. Everything just looked it off and looked it like they forgot they had a football game out there. They forgot they had a football game. They forgot to wake up or something like that. But again, I think they come out with better pep in their step. I think they come out with better focus, lack of effort. I think they come out with better energy than what they did last game. And I'm taking Oregon to win this game. I think they're going to get the job done this time go around. But it was no excuses for the debacle that they had the first game against them. They just didn't look motivated and not willing to be out there. They just didn't look like they were ready to play out there. And Utah came and put it on them, man. Salt Lake City, being in Utah, Salt Lake City is no matter where you go, basketball or that's tough. That's a tough place to play, man.
Yeah, and then Winningham, the coach of Utah, and Sisselbaugh, the coach at Oregon. Winningham outwhooped Sandoval in the first meeting. Does
Mm-hmm.
Sandoval come back and whoop Winningham in this meeting?
Yeah, I believe Oregon will get up out of here with this victory, man. I believe Oregon will get up out of here with this win. I believe there will be more motivation. I believe they're gonna come out and get some more run some receiver screens and get the running game involved a little more based on the coverage they playing. And the quarterback Brown, he has to do a better job of protecting the football. They cannot have too many 3-and-outs. No, they cannot have too many penalties to kill a drive. And he's got to make better decisions. Brown has to make smart decisions with the football. So I believe he will do that. We will see some hurry-up offense when they got momentum, that we would see some hurry-up offense and not trying to let Utah defense get set. You should see more of the pace flowing for Oregon. So, again, I think Oregon's going to come out with this win. I think you'll see a better football game what they played, if not.
Yeah, and if you look at something too here, we got 30, almost 30 minutes before first kickoff. We leading up to that first kickoff on the College Breakdown Show like we do on Saturdays. We lead it all the way up to that noon kickoff. This Saturday, we probably won't have a noon kickoff. I have to look at the schedule, but if we do, we're going to carry it all the way up to that kickoff, 3 hours our normal show. This is a special edition because we had the Pac-12 championship and the Conference USA championships tonight, so we want to get some information out there to y'all, to everybody's fans and stuff like that, and show them why we are the premier pregame show you want to watch every Saturday night. Saturday instead of watching the big networks, you get more information here. Big network sticks with Alabama and your Georgia and your things.
The top school, we sticks with everybody. We do everybody.
We do everybody. We pick games out of it. We even put some of these, non-Power 5 conference in here on our thing. So we want to take out the best of the both worlds here. So this is one of the premier, pregame show that you wanted to see here. And then once football season moves away from football season, we'll move right into college basketball and bring some of that sports in here, and we'll do some of the pregame shows for there. So this show will be moving around from, it'll still be on the Saturday show at 9 o'clock to 12 every Saturday. Might be moving around a little bit to catch some of the important college basketball games. So stay with us for more announcements after the football season is over. So to me, everybody says Utah is favored by 3 points because we know why. They beat them last time.
They beat them last week, yeah.
It's a fair shake of that. So Oregon comes in as an underdog. Now, the offensive line for Oregon, did he get challenged this week by the head coach?
Yeah, I believe so.
How would that work out if they're challenged, their manhood is challenged. Do you think they take it personal and then they come out here and be more physical than Utah?
Oh yeah, it's a
physical team.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. You gotta challenge your players. After the debacle, they laid an egg in the Salt Lake City. Yeah, you gotta challenge your players. You gotta give Sparks some type of motivation in them and let them know that game right there that didn't sit right with me. The players now, if the players want to take it personal, they can do that. If they decide not to show up and not play, they can do that. But the coach, as a coach, you gotta send some type of a message to these players to let them know this is a conference championship game. We're fighting to be in one of the biggest historic bowl games, the Rose Bowl game. I want to come out with some flow. I want to come out with some energy. And if the players want to get upset, they could do that. But you're trying to send a message to your players. We have to come out and be ready to play. So it should motivate them. It should motivate the players to want to come out and play. Now, if they want to get upset, that's fine. But at least you're trying to store some motivation in these players for them to come out ready in this game. So, again, I think he did a little pep talk with them. I think the guys are going to come out motivated and come out and show up. Now, if they don't, that's on another level. But, again, you have to challenge these players and let them know, hey, we got to come out and ready to play. We got to come out, have flow, and have energy. You have to do that.
Yeah, I look at it, too, this way, too. We know Oregon's got all these different color uniforms and stuff like that. So what kind of uniforms would he be wearing tonight? Would he be bringing out some kind of special uniform? And, last week they played the Civil War in all green, and Oregon State played in all orange. So we had a green and orange out there. What kind of uniform conversation are we going to have tonight with Oregon?
I want to see them in the yellow uniform. I want to see them in that yellow, kind of little yellow uniforms right there, man. I want to see them kind of in that little yellow uniforms right there. That's what I want to see Oregon in.
You want to see them in the highlighters? They call it the highlighter uniform.
The highlighter, yeah, the little highlighter. I want to see them in that.
To me, I'm kind of partial to the black and green myself.
Mm-hmm.
The black and green was pretty cool because the green highlights the black in it and stuff like that. It'd be appropriate for me if they came out in that black and green to make it symbolize a death march for Utah.
Yeah, I love Oregon colors though, man. I love their colors, man. They probably got one of the best colors in college football, man. I love them colors, man.
Yeah, we got about 25 minutes before game time. We're going to take our last break here. We'll be right back. This is the College Breakdown Show, special edition on the All Sports and All Play Network. Be right
Yes,
back.
sir.
This is the Fonx D Streaming Network. Register to come on our channel at fonxdnetwork.com.
What did you say?
I said Kobe Bean Bryant has been overrated ever since he passed away.
Nah, I'd say they could lose about 4, but I don't see them losing 5. You know what I mean?
All sports, all plays. 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 365, we're making a place. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so type the laces. All sports, all plays. Network. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.
Welcome back to the College Breakdown Show on the All Sports, All Place Network. I'm going to bring my colleague back in, Coach Dante. So, Coach, we have gotten some of the things. We got about 23 minutes before kickoff. You got your pick. You said Oregon. It's my turn to make my pick for this ball game. I like Oregon in this game because the simple reason is Utah cannot play on the road. Even though it's a neutral game site, Utah cannot play on the road. Utah has a losing record on the road this year. So, we have brought you the winner. I'm picking Western Kentucky. He's got UTSA. We both got Oregon in this ball game. And let's talk about what we're going to talk about on tomorrow's show, since we are on a special edition tonight because of the Pac-12 game and stuff like that. We led them all the way up to the game time. We gave them some good insights on this game. Do you have any more between these two games that you need to add to this conversation?
No. We said all we need to say, man. Like I said, I believe Oregon is going to come out. They're going to come out with a little more freedom. They're going to come out with a little more energy. I believe they're going to win this game. I think it's going to be a close game. I got them winning by 6 points. I got them winning. I got them at least winning 26-20. I got Oregon winning 26-20, and I got UTSA winning by 7. I got them winning 30-23 in the game. So it's a matter. Both of them got punched in the mouth, and they didn't respond. So it'll be interesting to see how both of these guys, when they're down 7-0, or if they go down 10-0, is they going to fight back and get up, or are they going to stay laid down? And, that will be able to, I just want to see how they respond when they're down.
Okay, so let's talk about what we're going to talk about on Saturday's show. We're going to give a little bit of highlights of what we're going to talk about here, and we'll give you some brief synopsis on everything. So we're going to talk about all the coaches changes around NCAA football. About this time of year, everybody gets fired, or they walk away, or they just, retiring. What interesting hire out of this whole list that caught your eye? this week?
Oh man, the interesting hires. Brian Kelly, man, going to LSU. I didn't see that coming. He went from the independent league. Now he's in a very much tougher conference where he can have a hard time at. He can have a hard time in that conference, man. But I believe the recruiting may be better. I believe his recruiting site may be better. He can get people, get recruits to come in, but there's no doubt it's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough in that conference in the SEC. It's going to be tough playing Alabama, playing Georgia. It's going to be tough playing Florida, Missouri, all of these teams. So that was kind of an interesting hire I did not see coming. And I don't know if everybody's seen this coming, but like I say, I mean, that just came out of nowhere for me. Him not being able to tell his players and just sending a text and just leaving off and not telling the players face to face and just kind of doing like the Joe Petrino way, Bobby Petrino way, like how he left a note in the locker room and nobody knew that he was going back to college and he went back and not telling the players. That kind of got me right there. That kind of reminded me of Bobby Petrino.
Yeah, and we can run down real quick some highlights, and then we'll talk a little bit more. UConn hired Joe Moore.
Mm-hmm.
Think that was a good hire? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, well, we'll break that out a little bit more. We're just gonna go yes and no right quick here. USC and Lincoln Riley was
yes.
Georgia Southern and Clay Hilton, the former USC coach.
No.
LSU and Brian Kelly.
Somewhat.
Washington State and Jake Dirknick.
I believe, yeah.
Texas Tech and Joey McGuire.
No.
TCU and Sonny Dykes.
Yes.
Akron's coach is still opening right now. UMass went away from Walt Bell to Don Brown.
Yes, I believe that's a pretty decent hire. That's a
Then Washington Huskies hired Kalen DeBarro.
No.
FIU went away from Butch Davis, still vacant. Virginia Tech went away from Justin Fuente to Brent Pryor, the defensive coordinator from Penn State.
Yes, I will say yes.
Florida went away from Dan Mullins to Billy Napier out of Louisiana.
I love Billy Mayfair. Yes, that's a good hire.
Louisiana has not made a replacement for Bill Napier. New Mexico State went from Doug Martin to Jerry Kill, the former Minnesota coach.
Yes. Minnesota been competitive. Yes.
I just hope his health stays up because he's the one that had all the bad health when he was at Minnesota.
Yeah.
Troy went away from Chip Lindsey to John Summerall.
No.
Louisiana Tech went from Skip Holtz to Sonny Cumbie, the TCU offensive coordinator.
Yes.
SMU went, Sonny Dykes left and went with Rayette Lashley.
No.
Oklahoma's still open. Temple is still open. Duke is still open. Fresno State still open. Notre Dame went from Brian Kelly to Marquise Freeman. That's the participating
defensive coordinator. Yeah. I believe that's good. Yes.
And then we're gonna try to figure out who's gonna take over for Colorado State and Virginia. We're gonna figure out who's gonna take over for Duke and Temple and Oklahoma. That's gonna be a little bit more Entice and FIU and Akron is only the ones that are open right now. So, and then we're gonna talk about potential more firings if there are gonna be any more in college football. So we're gonna do a little digging for that from that part. So we're about 15 minutes away. Let's take a look at the schedule for tomorrow. Number 9, Baylor versus number 5, Oklahoma State. That's going to be at noon on ABC. Kent State versus Northern Illinois. That's noon on ESPN. Then we got a game at Utah State at number 19, San Diego State. That's at 3 p.m. on Fox. Appalachian State at number 24, Louisiana. That starts at 3:30 on ESPN. So let's take a look here at these networks. We'll go through number 1, number 3, number 1 Georgia versus number 3 Alabama. That's from Florida. That's on CBS. That's always a SEC network anyway. Number 21 Houston at number 4 Cincinnati is on ABC.
Yep.
Number 2 versus number 13 is at 8 p.m. on Fox.
Yep.
Number 15 Pittsburgh versus number 16 Wake Forest. That's at 8 o'clock on ABC. And USC finishes that nightcap off at California. That's at 11 o'clock p.m. That's on FS1. Out of all these games here, they put in-state Northern Illinois and Appalachian State and number 24 Louisiana on cable. So people with basic channels cannot get these two games.
Mm-hmm.
You figured that they would have done at least a more predominant a predominant more team to put them on cable a little bit there, make people buy those games, then put them on like free TV. So you think that was the right call by the networks of putting these two, Kent State and Northern Illinois on ESPN, and Appalachian State and number 24 Louisiana on ESPN?
Yeah, I think they did. I think they did. I actually like it because you're not getting away. At least you can see the big games. At least you can see the big games on a regular TV. You can see them on regular TV. It's not like you have to go to cable and you have to turn on cable on ESPN and you have to do that because a lot of people ain't got cable. So it's nothing wrong with it. It's nothing wrong with it for me. You just want mainly the games people are gonna basically watch is the Georgia game, is the Houston U of H game, Cincinnati. They're gonna watch the ACC championship, the Big Ten championship. They're gonna watch the American Conference. They're gonna watch all of those games. The only games people are gonna pay attention to more.
Yeah, I look at this and I look at two. Same thing with the Western Kentucky and UTSA tonight.
Yeah.
They own cable, CBS Sports Network. You need to go find your local cable channel for that one if you want to watch the 7 o'clock game. Most people will tune in for that if they got that cable, and then they'll flip it out to ABC at 8 o'clock because that's a bigger important game. You got a number 10 versus number 17. The only people that will stay on the Western Kentucky and UTSA game will be their fans, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, basically, you're putting it in their hands and stuff like that. But ESPN is not really effective because ABC is owned by ESPN, by Walt Disney Company. So the Walt Disney Company owns ESPN and ABC. So they're making money any which way you look at it. Fox is just regular channel. CBS is regular channel. FS1, you get your USC in California. That's part where you're gonna make your money maker in the 11 o'clock game. So I mean, we're gonna break down all these games. Usually we break down about 20, 17 games. We only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games on Saturday. We got the 2 games here. We got total 11 games because of the championship.
11 games, yep.
So I mean, you see it go now. It's going to be spiraling when it comes up after these games and get ready for the bowl games because you got that 1 week off and then the bowl games hit. We probably won't be on for those bowl games due to the fact that I'm going to be out of town starting the 20th. I won't be back into town until the 3rd. About when the championship game comes back on and stuff like that. So we'll bring that when I get back into town on the 3rd. We'll look at the schedule and we'll probably bring back the college breakdown show to break down the national championship, and we're gonna figure out a time for that too.
Okay.
Because we want to break that down. We don't want to come. We'll come on at 9, party at 12, and then we'll work our way around and try to figure out a time that we can jump back on here and break down the national championship game and stuff like that. So we'll work out that with the network here, with the All Sports All Place network, and we'll fine tune that. But just let you know, this holiday season is a little bit trying because my mom passed away in February. This is the first time we're going to be without. So I'm going back to North Carolina. I'm living in Jacksonville. My sister lives back in North Carolina, and my brother's coming down from Washington D.C. area. So a little bit of family time and, get it in and, visit my mom's grave site and stuff like that. So, but, that's 2 weeks. We'll be away about two weeks. So that's a good time to, tear the show down a little bit. My sister don't have great internet, access at her house. So you live in the country of North Carolina, you don't get the high powered internet than you do in the city stuff. So, But anyway, so we got everything saying, we got 11 minutes before almost 10 minutes before game time. We went through all this, and we're going to break down the games. We're going to break down the Baylor, Ohio State game, Oklahoma State game. We're going to break down the Kent State, Northern Illinois game. You probably won't hear that game broken down. Just probably little tidbits on the rest of the pregame show. So if you want to come over, Kent State fans and Northern Illinois fans, you want to come here, we'll break it all down for you.
Yep.
Same thing with the Utah State and the number 19 San Diego State game. We'll break that down. Appalachian State, we'll break that down. Louisiana. We're going to have all these games broken down. Big Calicaster is probably going to lead off with the, number 15, number 16, Wake Forest. They'll do the ranking teams and probably leave some of the unranked teams out. Normally that's how they do it. And they get a bigger segment to Georgia and Alabama game, which that comes on at 4 o'clock. So, might be on the lookout for that. I might bring this show back probably about 2 o'clock, 1:30, 2 o'clock for that game. I want to break that a little bit more down in depth, a little bit more to lead up to that game. And we might actually, I don't know, I'm thinking about it, we might actually call that game.
We
might call that.
I'm down for it because I got Iowa State. I got Iowa and Michigan at 7 o'clock. So let me know something. We definitely can call it if you're interested.
Yeah, I think we might call that game on the network here.
Okay. We can do it. I'm down with it.
Yeah. We won't be able to bring the actual video of the game, but they got this thing called the sync box. You can hook up your cable box to it, and it will sync our show up with the actual game, so we can actually call the game and it'll be synced up with their audio.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it, but they do it some way. They sync up the two audio and the video. If you want to come in, let's listen to us. If you don't want to listen to Tim Brando and whoever the guy.
The commentators is
Sometimes they're horrible.
Oh yeah, they are.
We'll talk. I'll talk to the president of the All Sports All Place Network, and we'll work that issue out. If we can actually telecast that game, not bring it on the screen, but telecast the actual, like a radio style on television style.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so we got the big games here. We got the Oregon and Utah, and then we got the Western Kentucky and UTSA. We already talked about them. We broke it down for everybody. So we're gonna let you go. We're gonna get off here. It's 8 minutes till. We're gonna let you get ready to circle your wagons, get your refreshments. If you're tailgating right now, you got your beer, you got your other things. So, and then I'm gonna get ready at 8 o'clock here. To jump on to watch that Oregon and Utah game. That's going to be a real good game. And then we're going to see which uniform combination actually win. If we both win or we both lose. Or we both lose and Oregon comes out with some crazy thing.
Some crazy we ain't never seen,
But which helmet would they wear? Would they wear the O or the wings?
They're going to wear the wings. I'm going with the wings.
So you got the highlighter and the wings. I got the O. I got the green O and the green and black uniforms.
Yeah, I got the highlight and the wings.
And I don't know why I did that because of the depth. Yeah, I got that because I wanted to be the death march to Utah. And I'm gonna tell you the reason I don't like Utah. Because my ex-wife had her brother go to Utah.
Mm-hmm.
Anything with her side of the family,
yeah,
bad taste in the mouth and stuff like that. I just can't go with that. So but like I said, you got less than 7 minutes now. You're coming up to about 6 minutes here, and you got 6 minutes before game time. So I let the coach Dante go get his refreshments, get his game on. And then I'll get my game on, and everybody else can get their game on. You get your briskets, whatever you're cooking on your tailgating. If you're tailgating tonight, it's a good night to be tailgating. So I am Ray. This is the Coach Dante. This is the College Breakdown on the All Sports, All Place Network. Have a good night.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365 5, we making the plays. We talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.